Yes, it's Joe here for joyridertv, live in the winter boat park, still in the winter boat park. Okay, I just thought I'd kick off a little bit early to give everybody a chance to get involved and to make sure that the camera is in the sweet spot. Getting her into the sweet spot, that is important. Okay, you'll see all the writing on the boat is backwards. That's because the camera's flipped. It's the self view. Hello to everybody who's just joining us. We're just starting a little bit early just to give everyone a chance. Hi Ollie, how you doing? You should have been here by now, man. Or was it today? Or was it yesterday? Anyway, yeah. Hi Daniel, thanks for tuning in. Good to have you on board. Hi James. HJ from Blackwood Forest, Germany. Nice to see you. Yeah, so we're just going to be kicking off shortly. I'll just give everyone time to tune in. Yesterday was Ollie's flight. Ollie's one of the instructors out here, and he was meant to fly out yesterday. Sad face. Hello, Mike. Glad to be your favourite cat guy. Hi, Kush. Nice to have you here from Michigan, I believe. Getting used to everybody now and where it is that they come from. Hello, Marco. Are you in Italy? Perhaps? Just a guess. Just a guess. Could be Spain. Could be Vasiliki. Hi, Rob. Rob from South Africa. Nice one, Rob. Nice to have you on board. I did used to winter in Cape Town and I had nothing short of a great time. If you really want... Oh, who we got? Evan. Checking in from Michigan, USA. Yeehaw! Yep. Good to have you on board. If you're ever stuck for somewhere to go, once the restrictions have been lifted and you like good wine and steak. Oh yeah, we've got new Joyrider hats. If you like good wine and good steak and Joyrider hats, then South Africa is a very good place to go. I did 12 winters in Cape Town and what a good time that was. Anyway, so what we're going to be looking at here. Oh, hello, Chris. Nice to have you on board from Texas. And hello, Benjamin, if you're watching as well. Probably still at school. You still going to school in America, or is that have the schools been closed due to the situation? Anyway, we're going to be going through putting the mast up on a Hobie 16. Of course, these techniques can be applied to any catamaran. Hi, Rob. Rob from Italy. Nice to have you on board. Yep, school from home. Yep, same here. We are schooling from home. My exciting news is last night I took part in my first virtual regatta kind of group invite, kind of race meeting, and it was electrifying. You can see exactly what went down in a video that I posted shortly afterwards. But it was very good. I went against members from the Felixstowe Ferry Sailing Club on the east coast of the UK. Hi, Jay, from Quebec, Canada. Nice to have you on board. So last night's virtual regatta racing has inspired me to set up my own one. I just have to find a suitable time, but I think 4 races is the sweet spot, and then we'll do 4 races and then 1 discard, so you get to throw away your worst result. But I think I'll have to do 2 separate race meetings, one in the morning for here, which would be good for all the guys like in Australia and New Zealand, the people who are further to the east, and then one at sort of this time or a bit later maybe for everybody who's either here or further to the west. I think that sounds like a good idea to me. Right, is everybody here? Are we still waiting for anyone? Is Jeff here? We're just waiting for Jeff to arrive. I'll just leave you to... Oh, who have we got? Hi, James. Ah, Ocean City, New Jersey. Nice to have you on board, James. Very exciting times. We're getting close to completing this Hobie 16. And yeah, also on the news just in. Hi, Carlos. Yeah, no problem. I'm just here because I love it. That's why. Once we've got the mast up, then I'm going to start having a look at these dolphin striker measurements. A chap called Paul. Hi, Freya. Hello. Hi, Jean. From Paris. Bonjour. Yeah, once I've got the mast up, then I'm going to start having a look at some dolphin striker measurements and settings. A chap called Paul, who might be here right now, I don't know. He sent me a piece of text suggesting how it is that you set up the dolphin striker correctly. So we're going to take a look at that. But hi, Valentin, and hi, everyone. That's nice, community spirit. Just rehydrating before we kick off. Who have we got? Ilya, Elena. Oh, yeah. So this is Ilya, Elena, and Alexei, who did the intro to Show Us Your Cat before Christmas. Paint Boy. Excellent. Yeah, thanks very much. There's Paint Boy from Texas. People's YouTube handles are definitely out there. If you are thinking of signing up to Virtual Regatta, it would be great if you used the same name as you do on YouTube. So then for regular contributors, we'll have an idea who it is on the different boats at the time. Wouldn't that be fun? All right. So I'm going to take you off the stand and we shall begin. So, flipping the camera. There we go. That's what the view is like now. The weather hasn't been particularly on. Yesterday it wasn't so good. The day before it was all right. And now we've got this kind of sky like that. We'll be out sailing tomorrow, says Jay. Nice. Get one for the speed stick. Yeah, absolutely zero wind at the moment. You can see that smoke rising almost straight up. Yeah, so what we've got here is we've got our 16, and you will notice I have positioned a trailer just behind. Yeah, there's a house on fire. Just behind with a bench on it. Basically what we're doing here is we're just getting the back of the mast up because this is going to be a solo mast raise. For the same reason, this is why we've got the trolley under the boat, which is giving the boat a kind of downwards angle, which once we've got the mast up a bit, that's going to take the weight off the mast a bit and make the process a bit easier. If you're feeling a bit stronger, or if you've got a slightly... Oh, hi guys, nice to have you here from New Zealand. Sorry it's a bit late for you, but we have to do what we have to do. If you've got a longer mast crutch, so if that goes higher, you could have the trailer further back, and then you wouldn't need this ridiculous rig on the back of the trailer to hold the mast up. Is everybody with me? I think I know what I'm saying. But we've put this here right behind the boat, basically to get the mast higher up, so that when we actually go for the raising, it'll be a bit easier. Wicked. Okay, so I've taken the liberty. joyridertv, Mauritius fan, didn't quite get that, sorry. Ollie, you definitely show me a similar technique, yeah. We carry a small 5-foot ladder. Yeah, basically anything behind your boat to lift the back of the mast will do, of course. You want your boat to be fairly stable. If there is a strong wind, you want that wind coming from behind, so then that's going to help to hold the mast up, rather than you fighting what the wind is doing. And having a little bit of angle on the boat, that's a little bit of angle, is going to help as well. I've done a bit of preparation. I've already connected the shroud on the starboard side, and I've just untaped the rigging. Before we go for the hoist, a few things that we need to do. Maybe I should connect this shroud now before I forget. But before we connect the shroud, we've got these shroud anchor points, which, hi Edward, nice to have you on board, which have got a habit of coming unscrewed. So what it is worth doing is taking your adjustable spanner or your shifter and just pop it on there. Just give it a little tweak to make sure that it's tight. This is something that is worth checking every time you go out sailing, because they do come unscrewed a bit over time. So it is a good idea to just check that occasionally. Yeah, thanks. 10,000 subscribers. Who would have thought? How many people can you put on a Hobie? 15. Depends on the size of the people, but I would say adults, you could probably all right, going for a not particularly helpful camera angle there. Adults, I'd say 3 adults, 1 child, 2 adults, 2 children, 3 children maybe, depending on the size. Okay. All right, so, and we're back in the now. I've had 4, including myself. Well, that is bragging. Depends if you want the boat to go particularly fast or not. More people, less speed. Yeah, so we've just pinned that on. I like to put my split rings on the inside, just because it's nice to do everything the same way. We're just operating one-handed. Okay, so I've already done that on the other side. Also, pre-hoist, you should check these bad boys. Same as print on 19, yep. How critical is the angle of anchor? If you could rephrase your question, because I didn't quite get what you mean there, Evan. So just check these ones as well. Just get your screwdriver on there, and you'll need really disliked split rings as they break sails. Yes, so what we're going to do is put tape on everything. So make sure these bad boys are tight, and it is pretty common to have a bit of cosmetic cracking underneath there. So that is generally all right. But perhaps if you've got time on your hands, take this out altogether, just have a look, take this off, have a look inside and just make sure they are just cosmetic, but largely these bad boys are cosmetic. Okay, Edward, I'll get back to you on that. If somebody wants to get into sailing who doesn't sail, there are options, but what would you do? Go on a sailing holiday. I think that's a really good start. Or go on a sailing course, join a sailing club. Yeah, so we've connected these up, connecting the bridle wires up with the shackle. I've done the shackle up. With all of the shackles, I'm probably going to get some sort of abuse here for doing it, but I've already done this one and I haven't got enough hands to demonstrate what I'm going to say. So just coming back to the hounds, do a quick lap. So with all the shackles, I like to tighten them using the adjustable spanner. Here we go. Is that a great... Sending you some pictures of my rudder problems tomorrow. This will blow your mind. Oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. If anybody else has got any rudder problems they'd like to send me pictures of, I am ready to have my mind blown. So, Yokel Lock Club, yeah. Yeah, so we're just tightening the shackles using the adjustable spanner. That is much better than using a pair of pliers or a shackle key, because you get so much purchase. Yes, the shackle probably is screaming a bit, but it's worth it. I think a screaming shackle is better than a shackle that's going to come undone. All right. Also worth checking before you put the mast up. Thank you for the videos of recently. Yeah, 1978 Hobie 16 owner. Want to see that bad boy on Show Us Your Cat? That is for sure. Before you put your mast up, also worth checking the condition of the rigging. If you haven't changed it, let's say in the last 3 years is ideal, but if you haven't changed it ever, then definitely have a look at it. And if it looks like it's discoloring a lot, or if you want more peace of mind, just replace your rigging. It's worth it. Also, this is an understated statement, but your jib halyard is the most important piece of rope on the boat. Your jib halyard needs to be of a very high quality. So you either need to use 5mm like this with a Dyneema core so that it won't stretch, or a 6mm rope with a polyester core, which would have a similar kind of stretch characteristic, although it'd be more chunky. If you've got a 5mm jib halyard with a polyester core, that is going to stretch, and you'll have a very sort of elastic rig, which means you won't be able to point very high going upwind, because when you sheet in, the jib halyard will stretch and the mast will just come further back. You won't get any good tension. Also, when you're moving your mast around, just have a listen, and if you can hear any water inside, I've got a metal one, is that all right? Absolutely. Yeah, metal jib halyard is fine. This, I'm talking for the Hobie 16, where our rig tension is on the jib halyard. If you hear any water in your mast, then you do need to drain that, but we'll talk about that at a later date, draining the mast. If you want to know how to rig the mast, how to put all the rigging on the mast, I've made a video on that from last year, which will explain how to do just that. Okay, everybody happy so far? I think yes. All right, so this isn't going to take particularly long, would you believe? Just a bit of preparation. So we're just going to get into another position so we can see what is going on here. How is this? Nice, maybe we'll come down a little bit. The joy of single-handed cameraman and stuntman at the same time. All right, so before we can do anything, we need to make sure the mast foot is attached to the mast base, because if that jumps out while we're hoisting, we are in for a lot of trouble. If you're doing this with two people, I'd be perfectly happy, once we've got the mast in position, to have one person just holding it like this, holding it in position. It's a very responsible job, and they definitely need to make sure they're not going to let go, just to make sure that as the mast comes up, this part locates in that part. Oh, anybody spot the coin? Yeah, I've put a 5-cent coin in the mast step, because usually we use the Teflon mast pivot bearings, which we actually get from Hobie Cat, because they last a lot longer than anything else. But I haven't got any up here, and seeing as I'm not going sailing, I just put a coin in there, and that will just prevent the bottom of the mast grinding away on the mast step. Of course, if anybody's got anything interesting they use in their mast step, I think we all need to hear about it, so you can start having a chat between yourselves about what it is that you use. Now, I'm going to use, to hold this in position, a mast hinge, which you can get on Amazon. Check out the link to my Amazon store to find a mast hinge. Really, really handy. Now, in preparation for making this video, I can't remember who it was that asked me, but how you'd go about raising your mast single-handed without... Hello, Jeff. Nice to have you here. This is Jeff from Gear Report, of course. If you need any reviews on anything, check out gearreport.com. Yeah, so that's just to save a bit of wear. Now, I did try using a roped technique, just as an experiment when I was preparing to make this video. And what it seemed was to get the rope tight enough so that would go in, meant that as you got the mast high enough, hi Christian, as you got the mast high enough, the rope's going to snap, so you can't win. If anybody has come up with a good solution Yeah, milk jugs, nice. If anybody's got a nice solution to how you can attach that to that, then let us all know. But I'm going to use the mast hinge because I've got one. So I'm just going to get the mast out of the way. Going to attach this piece first into the mast step, sticking in the pin. And then it's got two holes in the mast step. One is for the 14, one is for the 16. So the further one back is for the 16. I'm just going to have to change the angle of the mast very slightly. There we go. I'm back in the now, and so I just bring the mast round, getting this lined up, and where is it? Oh, it's not quite. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. So that is connected, and we're reasonably happy that that is secure. All right. So just changing the angle here for the next part of this. I'll read through these comments afterwards to see if I can contribute at all to the discussion, but it'll be later on, and I'll just reply to you in the comments of the video. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, because we're flying solo, in fact, hold on, I'll just flip this round. And, aha, let's just check that we can see. There we go. So what I'm going to do, just to hold the mast up, once we've got it up, so I'm just going to take one of the trapeze wires. I think this one looks pretty good. And I'm going to attach a rope to the trapeze wire. It's a reasonably long rope. By the way, Chris, who's on board at the moment, Chris from Texas, you can see his innovative solo mast raising technique. I think it was not the last Show Us Your Cat, but the one before that. So check that out if you want to see a nice, very well organised system for raising the mast. Okay, so this rope is attached to the trapeze line. I'm now going to pass it through the shackle here. And this is just so that we can hold the mast up from on the trampoline and secure it. Are we happy with this angle for the mast raise? I think it's a pretty good angle, and it means I don't have to move the camera again. All right, so I'm just passing that through the shackle there, and then I'm just going to bring it back to the trampoline and lightly tie it off on the toe strap. In fact, we are going to go back for the side on. I think the side on is good. Right. How are we doing here? And okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, now that the mast is attached at the mast foot and we've got the rigging attached, I'm just going to bring the mast up a bit higher onto the mast support here of the trailer. There we go. And now the next stage is actually going to be putting the mast up. So we just want to make sure that none of the rigging is going to get caught around these corner castings or on the traveller cleat on the back beam, because that could be quite upsetting frustrating and difficult to deal with. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to get onto the trampoline, push the mast up, and then going to tension the rope that I put on the trapeze line. Here we go. Fingers crossed. If something goes wrong, it'll be very exciting. Okay, so because I've got the trolley under the boat, I don't want to put too much weight behind the trolley because the boat could tip up and the circus would certainly be in town. All right, so utilising the legs for the power, getting the arms underneath and bringing her up. There we go, so that seemed to go pretty well. And now I could take my piece of rope that I've cunningly secured just here so I can get hold of it. And then I'm just going to pull that pretty much as tight as I can. It's a little bit alarming when the mast comes back like that. And then I'm just going to take this and put it on the cleat there for the main halyard. And there we are. We're looking pretty good so far. So coming in for a closer look. Okay, one thing to look at during the hoist is, I'm just flipping this around, is if for some reason you feel that your mast won't go up enough, it could be that the what do you call this? The chain plate here is twisted or something, or maybe there's a kink in the shroud. So just check your rigging if the mast isn't going up as much as you expect. All right, so now that that's done, flipping round again, we're going to look for the forestay, which is here. Obviously, well, not too much of a tangled mess. And then just going to pop that onto the chain plate here. Of course, the mast on a 16 is, as standard, left pretty loose, which makes this very easy to do. All right. Definitely standard to drop the clevis pin. If you're not dropping your clevis pin, then you're not doing it right. Then just popping them in. All right, and in she goes. We can now feel a bit more secure. We can release this line. I'm just going to take that out. Okay, there's quite a lot there. That rope was longer than necessary, but it did the job very nicely. Okay, just taking it off. All right, so very nice. All right, I'm just going to show you one small feature on the front of the 16 here. Flipping round. So what we've got here is a piece of elastic that is under a reasonable amount of tension. And what that does is, because we've got the two chain plate system here, the jib will be attached down here, probably for a standard Hobie jib, put it in number 3 for very strong wind and number 4 for general conditions. And because it's anchored down here, that means when you're taking the weight off the forestay on the luff of the jib, this elastic will pull the forestay forwards, putting a bit of tension on it so it doesn't just flop around on the sail. Very clever. I think Murray's in America have got a really nice fitting that does that automatically. I'll see if I can look one up and put a link in the description below once this video is uploaded after we've finished this streaming. What are we doing? Right, flipping that round again. Hello, we're back. All right, so now I'm just gonna sort the trapezes out because this hasn't taken very long, so we've got time. There we go, I think that's a pretty good view. And here we go, so we're just having a look, trying to get the right ones. I think everybody will be familiar with the tangled mess. It's another standard feature. It's not too much of a mess. Okay, there we go. All right, so the trapezes on this side have got the elastic attached. Now, the way that I like to do it on a 16 is with the trapeze for the back, for the helm, just to go straight underneath the sidebar and just to link on to the trapeze wire on the other side. So I'm just going to do that first, if I may. All right, easy way to do this is just to do it at the back, and that means you don't have to go underneath the boat. And I'm just going to tie that elastic off round the shroud while I have a look for the correct wire on this side. So here we go, having a look. Just starting to rain. Again. All right, so there we go. And I'm just tying that on using what I like to call the kiter's knot. I'll show you the next one. So that one's done. Okay, and then my preference is for the cruise trapeze wire, what we're going to do, making sure it's coming directly from the mast, not wrapped around the shroud, of course, is we've got the holes in the trampoline. I'm going to put it through the hole, which is, it's about, what's that, a foot? A little bit further back than the shroud. And we've actually got longer elastic on the front one. So we're going to put it through that. And then that is then going to go forwards and around the central rod of the dolphin striker. And then I'm just going to tie that off there. Quickly, I'm going to bring you round. So that you can see this. You don't want to miss this. This is like cinema gold. Right, here we go. Okay, so, this is my way of just taking care of things if they're not attached with elastic, is if we just take it like this and just loop it round. sure that's pretty obvious, but I just thought I'd point that out, and that means that will stay there even if it's windy while you're sorting out other things. All right, so what we've got is in the end of the trapeze rope, we've got a knot here. And then in the end of the elastic, we have another knot. Sorry, did I mention the reason we're taking it around the dolphin striker is it allows us to have longer elastic, which gives it more stretch, which means if we capsize or if we pitch pole, there's less chance of the elastic breaking. Yeah, so there you go. All right, so here we are. We've got our two pieces. So it's the most simple knot in the world. We're just going to tie like a hitch with the knot in the end there. And there it is attached. The reason I'm tying it on like this is because occasionally these dog bone rope locks have been known to slip. And if they slip all the way to the end, unless there's some sort of stopper knot in the end, that will just come off the end, unceremoniously dumping you into the water. Whereas if we've got a knot in the end like this, then that means that's not going to happen. It's only going to go to the end. You might get washed off the back of the boat, but I think a bit of water skiing is a good feature of a session of an afternoon. All right, last thing I'm going to do is just fit the jib travellers. Oh, actually, what I didn't mention was before you offer up the mast foot, just make sure your jib sheets are in the right position. Because if you've got the jib sheets forwards of the mast foot when you've put the mast up, it means you have to untie the whole thing and adds time to the process. So, worth looking at. Okay, so here we go. We've got our jib traveller ropes. In fact, I'll just do this one so we can get the close up, and then you can imagine that I'm going to do the same on the other side. All right. Here we go. So that's going to come diagonally across the trampoline, under the jib sheet, and then the way that I like to do these is, just come down a bit, will you? And coming down, that was silky smooth camera work there. So I've got a spare hole in the trampoline here, so I'm just going to go down through the hole, back up, down through the hole again, and then I'm just going to tie a knot in the end, just a thumb knot, because that hole in this trampoline, the hole's pretty small, so that thumb knot is just going to hold it there, and that's a really tidy way to attach your jib traveller rope. There we are. So I think that's as far as we're going to take it today, because that was the plan, but it's also started raining. So that was the plan and it started raining. So that's what we're going to do. And then what I would suggest with the taping of split rings. So pretty much all, let's flip this round, all of the split rings, all of these bad boys, so you've got a few on the forestay, some on the shroud, they should all be taped up. But what I would suggest is if you are in a country where it does occasionally get warm, retape them before you go sailing every time, because what happens is if it's sat on the beach and it's pretty warm, the glue on the tape will melt, meaning the tape won't be particularly effective. You can use self-amalgamating tape, which basically makes a little rubber boot that fits around those split rings, which is much more permanent, and you only need to do that once, but it is permanent. And when you want to drop your mast, you actually have to cut it off because it's permanent and quite expensive. Hi, Josh. And you don't want a ripped kite, as the wise man there just said. Yeah, so get those bad boys taped up. and then you're ready for stage. What have we done? We've done the platform. Let's call that stage 1. We've done the trampoline, stage 2. If I could link it here, I would. Hearing you, Chris. Stage 2 was the trampoline. Stage 3 was the rudders. So that was stage 4, the mast, which leaves one more stage, and that is hoisting the sails, fitting the main sheet, and then we're, oh, sorry, Chris. Yeah, okay. Hoisting the sails, fitting the main sheet, and then we're ready to go sailing, if we could go sailing. So next week, what we'll be looking at is hoisting the sails and putting up the main sheet, and just, although everybody, I'm sure, knows quite well how to put the sails up on the boat, but it's just, this is almost like a meeting point for like-minded individuals whilst I just talk about doing something. When are they going to let you out? I'm hoping in about 2 weeks. What will it be? In fact, it's middle of next week. They're meant to be making an announcement on the future. So hopefully that announcement will say, and anybody making videos for joyridertv can go out sailing again. Yeah, I think it seems like about a third, maybe a quarter of the world are still allowed to go sailing, and everybody else has got virtual regatta. Yeah, so there we go. Next week, putting the sails up. Thanks very much for tuning in, everybody. Tomorrow, of course, and I expect you all there, will be live stretching. Stretching like loosely disguised yoga, which is aimed at people who don't do this sort of thing. And it will be a valuable experience. So that's at the same time tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise, I'm going to set up a race meeting on virtual regatta when I've decided when that's going to be. We'll do 2, one which will be early in the morning here, which will be good for the guys in Australia and New Zealand, and in French Polynesia, and then we'll do one in this sort of time, which will be good for everybody who's to the west of where we are, so everybody in the US and that kind of thing to start with. And then if it's a roaring success, we'll make it a regular thing, and we'll have a bit of a series. 4 races, 3 to count, and there we are. Okay, so thanks very much for tuning in. This will be available to watch back. Probably these videos usually take about 3 hours to process afterwards, so probably in about 3 hours this will be available to watch. So thanks very much.